This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Friday, November 17th. It's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. Once again, this is C.A. Newry and I shall be your host for the day as we have a discussion on intent. This is going to be cultural intent, identity intent, how we see ourselves and the trinkets, the trappings that should identify us as being Bahamian. Some time ago, I mentioned to Erin, and Erin is here with me. She stayed back again. I mentioned to Erin that the best Bahamian product that we as Bahamians can identify as and promote ourselves as, that represent us as, is Bay Street. How Bay Street look, act, and feel is how the Bahamas is, how the Bahamian people is. Bay Street, right? Anyone who comes here to see our premier destination, our most popular destination, goes to Bay Street to see and to feel the pulse of what it is that this country as a whole, because that's the main street where the majority of people go to feel the pulse of the nation and say, this is what the Bahamas has to offer. And of course, people might call and say, but we have the Family Islands, but they don't get the numbers, the millions of people that Bay Street does. When people go and say, I'm going to write about the Bahamas, and those 7 million people that we have per year, annually, when they say, let me write about the Bahamas, mostly the majority of those people pass through Bay Street. Bay Street is the product itself. I started a conversation about that because I want to talk about a particular spot. 12 years ago, there was a declaration. There was a declaration that the Bahamas, as we pride ourselves, as we promote ourselves, as we celebrate our identity, I think that was when we were having our 40th, in that range of our 40th independence. And they had all kind of constitutional referendum talk. We promoted the idea that we're going to have a national museum to showcase the Bahamas. We're going to have a long journey because it's going to be an expensive thing, right? But we're going to march on to have a national museum that Bahamians can go to see themselves, identify themselves, to conclude that this is me, this we thing here. I liken it to the Martin Luther King Jr. Museum. It's going to be big, bold, ornated, the best of what the Bahamas has to offer, similar to how Bay Street is the best of what we have to offer, right? A Bahamian product, not a foreign product, but a Bahamian product, right? And I mentioned to Erin that, Erin, I need to speak about this, right? Because I think someone has dropped the ball. Someone has dropped the ball because they don't see any value in what it is to be Bahamian and why we should celebrate. I drove past Colin's house, right? And said, this is a grand spot. But this place, dilapidated. The National Museum proposed is dilapidated. This tells a tale about us as Bahamians. I think we may be dilapidated. There's no effort to fix us up, to refine us, to define us, to showcase us to the world, to showcase us to ourselves to say, well, this is us and I'm proud, I'm beaming, and I want people to understand who we are. Come here to the Bahamas and see us in art. It does not exist. And now I want to know why. How is it that Bahamians have yet to cry out that 12 years later, we do not know? Let me say that again. 12 years later, we do not know where we stand with this National Museum. Remember we was collecting money? Millions of dollars we were trying to collect to say we could start something. We don't know how much money get collected. I would dare people to say that we still have the money. But see, that would be sinister. I wouldn't say that out loud. I did say it out loud already. No, let me take that back, right? But I would still challenge somebody to say, hey, go and find out how much money we have collected. Go and find out if we still collecting the money. Go and find out if we still doing fundraisers. Go and find out that despite 12 years going by, how close are we in renovating that, furnishing that, displaying that, making it available to Bahamians? So that's where our conversation is going to be about today. What can the Collins estate be used for? Why isn't it being used as that? What does that say about Bahamians? And I have one or two birthday wishes. I need to go and look at my notes right now. Let me see if it on this phone, so I can do that, so we can start the conversation non-stop. Aaron, get ready to read your notes, Aaron.
No, I ready. In fact, I have a quick question for you. So you call it Collins Estate?
Yeah.
Right? And you call it Collins House. Do you know what its formal name is? Do you know the formal name of
I can let you do all that.
Structure is?
I can let you do all that. Okay. Hold on. I want to say congratulations to Mr. Denton Gibson and his entire family and village. Proud moment indeed. Continue to mark and the manner of your bearing. Let me see what else. Say
Denton Gibson?
Yeah, what is?
I want to know, is Denton Gibson having birthday cake or is he having wine and cake? How old is Denton? And we get prepared for the celebration.
I think he's celebrating something. I'm trying to read my notes. God be the glory to God. Let me go and read this properly. But you continue that, and I'll go back to my notes.
17 or 70, that's a big distinction.
Yes.
I don't know what type of cake we having. But anyway, Mr. Gibson, and to the entire clan, happy birthday and congratulations.
I'm not sure his birthday, yeah.
And another milestone.
Teacher. A huge birthday shout out to Deaconess Beverly Bean. I have so much things, right? Who's the widow of the late Reverend Hervis Bean. And that's the person who wrote something for the national anthem or pledge. Hervis Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one. But it's her birthday today.
Not national anthem.
Which one?
It would be
Pledge?
the pledge and,
or the flag?
And the flag. A number of symbols. I think he's a part of the process of creation of a number of symbols.
I need to do better. I don't know which one is Hervis Bean. But I know that's Hervis Bean, yeah. From all of her family and friends, especially her beloved sisterhood, the Bahamas Association of Ministers, Wives, and Ministers, Ministers' Widows. We love you, sis. Sister Bev, keep smiling, keep shining, beautiful queen. I just want to say that, right?
Okay.
And I'm trying to read the rest of them, but as I get them, I'll continue to read them.
Yeah. And so, sort of to your point of where we stand and what is the legacy of Collins House, how many of us know?
But I pause you again.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Forgive me. I found what Denton did. Hold on. It's some big news, man. Denton Gibson and his entire family. He became the Bahamian man named a launch director at NASA.
Hold on. What?
Yeah, it's a big thing. I just reading all my notes.
So he's definitely having cake.
Yeah,
it may not be a birthday celebration, but we having cake.
Yeah, Denton Gibson. He's a Bahamian being named director of NASA. That's a big thing. We just got a Rhodes Scholar too.
Yeah. But you said launch director.
Launch director, whatever that is. I assume the person who say we counting down. 10, 9.
I thought you meant like launching the ship.
That's
no,
launch director.
Because you guys put it on your shoulder, and you guys launch it.
No, it's real ship. This is like astronaut.
And not like Olympic launching where you launch across the road to beat the traffic.
No. This is launch director at NASA. It's a Bahamian
engineer.
man named. Yeah, this means he's smart.
Yeah.
I just want to recognize him. I'm just trying to read my notes, make sure I call his name out, make sure we know that we have Bahamians doing big things. I want to recognize Javon. What's Javon?
You mean Javon Sands, who
Javon
became the Bahamas'
Sands.
fourth Rhodes Scholar.
Yes.
For the fourth time ever, Bahamian was announced as a Rhodes Scholar winner. Javon Sands, 21, is the 2024 Rhodes Scholar for the Commonwealth Caribbean. He joins Bahamians Dr. Desiree Cox, Dr. Christian Campbell, and Dr. Myron Roll. Commonwealth Caribbean Rhodes Scholarship Selection Committee Secretary Bertha Pilgrim made the announcement in Barbados on Tuesday. Quote, "This is an unimaginable, exciting opportunity, and I am very grateful," Sands said. "I'm very excited about the work I will be doing, and I'm looking forward to working in the region when I return from my studies." He will study for the Master of Sciences in Environmental Change and Management and Master of Sciences in Sustainability Enterprise and the Environment at the University of Oxford in the UK in October 2024. Sands, who is from New Providence, is a graduate of the College of St. Benedict and St. John's. We're going to go to page 5, University in the U.S. He graduated summa cum laude and received a degree in applied physics. The Rhodes Scholarship is a fully funded full-time postgraduate award which allows people from around the world to study at the University of Oxford. Rhodes Scholars are chosen not only for their outstanding scholarly achievements, but for their character, commitment to others and to the common good, and for their potential for leadership in whatever domains their careers may lead them, the Rhodes Trust said. Dr. Desiree Cox was awarded the scholarship in 1987. She is a medical doctor and a global thought leader in regenerative health. Dr. Christian Campbell became a Rhodes Scholar in 2002. He is an acclaimed poet, cultural critic, and professor. Dr. Myron Roll became the country's third Rhodes Scholar in 2009. A former professional football player in the NFL, is also a neurosurgery resident at Harvard Medical School and Massachusetts General Hospital. Like, he's already a doctor, right? But then you got to do like 25 years interning to be a neurosurgeon.
I'm hoping in the immediate future that they do a better narrative on the new Rhodes Scholar. No, I would say better narrative, a local narrative.
And more information.
More information, because he went to high school here. He went to St. Augustine's College. I've met him.
He went to SAC? He didn't go to St. John's?
No, St. John's in Minnesota he went to.
Okay.
But
some people say
he's a graduate of SAC.
Yeah.
He's a graduate of SAC.
Big stuff.
And when I met him, he was working in the Alumni Association, and he's assisting them with their newsletter and promoting their things, right? His mother, he come from humble beginnings. His mother's very proud and ecstatic,
Yes.
hustling, making sure that he get all what he needs. And I know he was abroad in Europe, had some kind of internship. They say study abroad.
Yeah.
He was at St. John's University in Minnesota.
In an exchange
and
program.
an exchange program in London doing that and learning some kind of different language at the same time too. So it was impressive to hear his story and to know that he's a Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah, because like if you're doing climate change work, right, and I imagine you focused on, to some extent, on small island developing states, to go into other small island developing states and really grasp the local experience of environmental change, you need to know the language, because you're going to go into pockets of communities where the people are not even speaking the standard.
Yes.
Right? So if they speak Dutch, they're not speaking standard Dutch, and they're probably not even speaking standard Papiamento. You got to learn the language.
And he also represented the Bahamas at COP20. It's COP20, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, COP 26 or 27?
The one where the Prime Minister gone and speaks the other day, and they had a large contingent in school people. That's the last one.
227.
Yeah, he
COP
represent.
27.
Yeah, he represent.
Okay, so he was a part of when we were questioning who are these people and why they go in.
Yes.
This is one of the people that went, and this is why they went, so they could gain the exposure, the networking. Remember the science.
And he understands the science. The science.
The science of networking is you have to be in the room.
Yes. I just wanted to recognize those people. I had a number of associate friends who were finalists for the Rhodes Scholarship. They didn't win it.
Yeah.
But they were considered. They were representing the Caribbean, and they, of course, Jamaica claimed it for those several times. But I know about 2 or 3 other Bahamians who were that close. And they should be recognized too.
You know what we need? We need a Dr. Robert Love Scholarship.
Ah,
You know, I'm without taking away the achievements and the success of those who have won the Rhodes Scholarship. We need to provide our brothers and sisters with another opportunity.
then we have an all merit scholarship for that.
Yeah, but we
Top BGCSE,
no, we need not top BGC. I'm taking it a little higher.
a little higher
We-
for master's degree program type thing.
Right. I think as a diasporic project, right? Not just Bahamian diasporic, not just regional diasporic, but African diasporic project, we need to establish the Dr. Robert Joseph Love Scholarship and herald it in the same way that we do the Rhodes Scholar.
True. Jamaica has their own Rhodes Scholarship, by the way.
Yeah.
They have the Caribbean Rhodes Scholarship, which is what Javon just won.
Okay.
Right? And then they have Jamaica Rhodes Scholarship, which is equally as prestigious,
Yeah.
right? Where the top student in Jamaica gets that.
Right.
And they're all sponsored by Cecil Rhodes Foundation type thing. I'm not sure how Jamaica get to claim
Right.
that, but they
See,
have their separate one
It's
there.
the Cecil Rhodes part
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I am uncomfortable with entirely.
And few people
I
know who he
ain't
is.
never going to go visit Rhodesia.
But it's not a Rhodesia no more.
Good. That's good then. I could go now.
Yeah.
Right? I even upset that our national dog is the descendant of the Rhodesian Ridgeback, right?
Yeah.
I just don't like Rhodes, anybody related to Cecil. I mean, because you're a good Cecil, I don't understand why,
Yeah.
right? But to not denigrate or take away from the achievements of our young scholars, let us as a people establish our own pathway to their institutes.
And that
If-
leads exactly to our conversation we'll be having today.
Mm-hmm.
Establishing our own. Are we equipped? Are we capable? Are we apt? Are we competent enough to
Mm-hmm.
define ourselves? And people would say, yes, of course. But after 12 years and we ain't no closer.
And I
Someone could argue, no, we don't have the smarts to do it.
I want just if we could stick a pin for a second when you say, are we competent enough? And what does that mean, right? Because people will automatically see it as a slight, as a diss, that you're denigrating Bahamians, and right? But the question of competency is not a question of like intelligence, it's a question of preparation, right? Like, have we established the necessary elements to be able to define a collective cultural attribute, right? No, that's just an attribute, let alone a collective cultural identity. Something that some one thing that we could all agree on encapsulates us as Bahamians. We haven't even done that yet.
But do Bahamians value such? Do they see the need for, again, this national museum where we're going to be talking about today?
Right.
Do they see any value in themselves to say, well, I have something worth cherishing and showcasing and celebrating?
And I think that's a part of the assessment of our competency, right? Whether we have the capacity to push forward. I put this on the table all the time. If we live in the Bahamas and we tout ourselves as the tourism leaders of the region, the hemisphere, and the world, if at the policy level we've determined, we've endorsed through our silence that we are comfortable with taking the lion's share of resources and pumping it into tourism, right? Tourism is what we do. Our government actors get paid from tourism dollars, right? Everything goes into the consolidated fund. A large bulk of that is tourism dollars, and that pays for everything. If that's the case, then why is it that the most affluent among us go and vacation in other countries? If we are supposed to be the best tourism product in the world, what does it say that not just the most affluent among us, but those people who actually work in government and are a part of the agenda of promoting tourism, whether directly in the Ministry of Tourism or in some auxiliary way, what does it mean when y'all go on vacation in other countries at the prime tourism time? Like, you don't see your own tourism product as valuable enough for you to take part in? You don't enjoy it? You don't get excited? You don't see that there are 1,000 things to do? and you just get right and start doing them, perhaps our tourism product fails because we don't believe in it.
Or it's inferior.
No, right? Well, you hurt my heart just now.
I
but
know,
yeah.
right?
Oh, it's-
And mind we only pontificating, right?
Yeah.
But when it stings when you challenge and question. But the idea that we had junkaroos who traveled to Trinidad and adopt a Trinidadian tourism product and bring it here and establish it here, but have yet to establish a Bahamian tradition or product anyplace else.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Do you value what it is you create sufficiently to survive on it alone?
But let's start our narrative. What you know about Collins Estate?
Nothing.
And you do research, man.
Okay, that's what I know. Collins Estate was the most high-tech building structure entity in the country at one point. Did you know that Collins House was well ahead of its time? I'm reading from an article. I'd like to thank Diane Phillips for learning me something. Diane Phillips, last man's standing. Let's get together and save Collins House. That's from the 28th of July of this year. From that article, Collins House was well ahead of its time with an internal vacuum system that ran through the walls from floor to floor, featured bedrooms with ensuite baths with modern plumbing equipment. Mr. Newry, you ever watched a movie in the sort of what they call maybe Gothic or steampunk era? You ever watch movies like set in the 1800s where the mail system was like a vacuum chute, and you plug it in, and a lot of Santa Claus movies have that in it. They had one of those in Collins House.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Diane Phillips points out in their. They did a walkthrough of it in that article. So in fact, that's a great article to read if you want to learn more about Collins House. Diane Phillips, Last Man Standing. Let's get together and save Collins House.
We already have a call, Aaron.
Yeah.
But I want to flesh out the
Yeah.
importance of Collins House and then give ideas of what we can do with it. Because I'm not totally sold on where there should be the museum anymore, because there's other possibilities. And especially when you see our government grasping for new concepts. We're going all the way out west to build a hospital. When
For who?
For people who live out west. It ain't gonna be for me.
For the turtles?
No. They bring it closer to a certain set of people. See, when you analyze these things, you realize something may be sinister. Anyway, let's go to the caller. Caller, go ahead.
Good morning again, Mr. Green, Ms. Green, and Mr. Newry.
Morning.
Now, Collins House and Collins Wall. The original gates of Collins House are still standing today. If you go to the gates, remember, I grew up in the Valley. I grew up on East Avenue, Centerville.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the front gates opposite the Tribune today, you will see the actual name of Collins House is Centerville.
That's why I was trying to learn. I was trying to learn Cecil something this morning, Sparky.
Hold on a second now. Let me get it to you now. The actual four walls of Collins are still on the eastern side of Doctor's Hospital, the western side next to Governor's Grove. And they go from the front wall, which is a smaller wall because it's at the gate, on the Shirley Street side, and both of the walls go down as far as Claridge Road Primary. Those walls are still there today, but they've been cut through when the government and the PLP time cut through to get through the Masons addition to all the different roads, Gibbs Corner and all that type of stuff.
So, hold on, Sparky, you're saying that the original boundary of the property stretched to the eastern side of Doctor's Hospital? And
The wall is still there on the eastern, right on the eastern side is Z&S property. The wall is still there between Z&S property and Hawkinsville.
Yeah.
There's a wall there, but it's been cut many places because to go through. Okay? But that's the eastern side. The back of Collins Wall, Collins House, going over the hill and down to Centerville, what we call it was East Sudden Junior, East Sudden Senior, now Claridge Road Primary.
Mm-hmm.
The whole of that was farmlands and orchards.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There was orchards.
Yeah.
And there was one time to get the Mason's Edition on the west side of Evangelistic Temple for us to get from Centerville to go to the Nassau Theater. We would go through the bushes. There was a ladder on the western side of the wall, on the eastern side of the wall, going up. Well, we say three guys will go. We pass the bicycle up to the one on top.
Mm-hmm.
He go down to the bottom. The one at the bottom pass the bicycle there. We go down, and then we go to our grandmother, Miss Taylor, and them to Mason's Edition. Walk up to Fort Fincastle. Walk down the 66 step to go to the Nassau Theater in Elizabeth Avenue. That's what we used to do. We didn't drive. We had bicycles.
Yeah.
And that's how we went to the Capitol Theater, to the Cinema Theater, and the Nassau Theater by climbing walls.
Sparky.
Did you know that happened?
No, of course. I know now. Sparky.
But if you want to say the actual name of Collins House, you would see it on two front gates, and it's spelled Centre, not Ter.
Yeah, the British spell is not the American. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sparky, for such a wonderful history lesson. See, Newry, for the 50th independence, you know what would have been great? Imagine you identify the people with the stories, and then they take their family on the walk that they the walks that they had to take, the paths that they had to make as children. Because my daddy used to tell me he had to walk 2 miles in the snow every day to go to school. And I wish my daddy was alive to take me on that walk so I could see what he meant when he say 2 miles of snow every day to get to school.
Aaron, I'm not sure if you remember that we are still celebrating our 50th anniversary.
So we got time.
We have time. I'm sure our government is still doing programs and activities for the 50th.
Right. And you know what? Rosemary Clarice Hannah, good cousin Hannah, is a photographer, a historian, and I'm sure she was involved in a similar project where they would a group would walk through a community and the organizers would highlight all the historic high points. We got to get that going again for the 50th independence, man. Like you say, we still got time. So a little bit more about what I learned about Centerville House, commonly known as Collins House. This is from the AMMC website. That's the Antiquities, Monuments, and Museums Corporation website. This property was originally owned by the Honorable David A. Bryce, a member of the Legislative Council. The Bryce family, with a loyalist background, came to Nassau from Alligator Bay, Long Island. The Honorable Ralph A. Collins, OBE, was an American who came to the Bahamas in 1905. So I see there's a tradition of giving foreigners letters. Maxine and Kagami, they okay. Mm-hmm. All right. He came to the Bahamas in 1905, married Marion, daughter of the Honorable David Bryce. And together they inherited the Bryce property. The original home was made from wood, which was destroyed in the 1929 hurricane. Ralph Collins swore that the house would never be destroyed by a hurricane, so he decided to rebuild the house with reinforced concrete. The house was completed in 1931. After the death of Ralph Collins in 1946, St. Andrew's School occupied this house from 1950 to 1971. The government of the Bahamas acquired Collins House, and it was then occupied by the Ministry of Education until 2001. Since 2005, Collins House has been placed under the Antiquities, Monuments, and Museum Corporation. The ultimate goal of the AMMC is to establish the National Museum of the Bahamas. Well, Mr. Newry, one of the things I found out about Collins House is there's very little documented information about it. There is no one particular site dedicated to the documentation and preservation of information about Collins House, but I found a number of stories, and here's one that we have to share. It's actually from the Caldwell Banker Bahamas real estate blog. Collins House to be renovated for a museum. 29th of April, 2009.
What year this was?
2009.
From 2009,
Yeah.
we were talking about making.
From before then, actually. There's an article. I have an article from 2008 as well.
So, let me. I'll work out how much years it is. Let's call it 2010, 20. 2020. So this is like 13, going on 15 odd years.
Yeah.
We've been talking about making Collins Estate something spectacular.
Right. And what I found beautiful about this, and why I wanted to share it, here's a quote. Some of us at Caldwell Banker Lightbourne Realty have fond memories of the old homestead. It was the home of St. Andrew's School between 1950 and 1971. And this is where we received our early education. This was no ordinary schoolhouse. With 35,000 square feet, it was vast. The hall had a beautiful wooden floor and was massive. I just want to say that the environment in which children learn directly and deeply impacts their learning and developmental experience. And I'm glad that they were able to enjoy it. Mr. Newry, go to the caller.
Yeah, go to the caller, please.
Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You still there? Go in twice, go in 3 times.
I'm gone.
Call back, former caller. So we got an article from 2008 entitled Collins House to be Transformed into a National Museum. So we know that the conversation started at least as far back as 2008. We've got and even the 2009 blog post from Caldwell Banker recognizes or acknowledges that the intention is to transform the space, or was to transform the space into a national museum. And they say we're delighted that the groundwork has been laid to breathe life into this wonderful old home, right? So a lot of the stakeholders, people who lived, worked in it, went to school in it, feel like
It's worth saving.
Yeah.
However, our government is doing contrary.
well, we don't know, but we got some information.
We don't know. What is happening?
All right, so a series of articles. We start in 2008, Collins House to be transformed into a national museum. And then we can fast forward, sir, to 2014, to an article I found. New board vows to raise funds for Collins House restoration, 13th of June, 2014. See, we have a caller on the line. I could stick a pin.
No, go ahead, caller. Patrick, call through, producer. Caller, can you hear me? Still nothing?
Newry.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay. Aaron,
Morning.
y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Before I say what I want to say, I need to find out one thing. When Sparky was telling you all about Collins Wall, was he talking about Doctor's Hospital?
That's what because I queried it. I just wanted to be clear.
Right.
He says
Sparky
that.
was wrong.
Okay, but hold on. Let me.
He said that Collins Estate borders Doctor's Hospital.
What he said was the original wall.
Right, that's what they're talking about, the wall.
Sits on the eastern side of Doctor's Hospital. That's what he said.
No, he wrong.
Well,
Okay,
tell me.
what is
He
it?
wrong. Let me tell you where Collins Wall starts from. Okay. You see where the hospital is, right?
PMH?
PMH.
Uh-huh.
Hospital. Okay, you see in the back of PMH and that was a school, Ministry of Education,
In the back of PMH?
right on the side of PMH, the place where the people them just built the thing up, the embassy.
Oh, that was the Anglican diocese. Well, so in the back was the Anglican diocesan office.
Okay,
Right, so when we come up Elizabeth Avenue, past accident and emergency entrance, and you go up to Sands Road, right? So you drive south, turn from Shirley Street onto Elizabeth Avenue, and you drive south up the slope. And
No,
then
you don't go Elizabeth Avenue way. You don't
Okay.
go down Elizabeth Avenue. You know where you go? Okay, I try to remember. Okay, you know where Senable. Okay, let's go. You see where Doctor's is, Doctor's Hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was Ministry of Education.
No, Collins House was Ministry of Education.
Right, that.
Right.
You see that right there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, between that and the hospital.
Right.
You see between that and the hospital.
Yeah.
That's where Collins Wall starts from. Newry, I don't know if you ever heard about the curry.
You
Yes.
know he's Jamaican. He know about the curry.
No.
No, I don't know food.
Yes, sir.
This was more like a jungle.
Yeah.
Yes.
We used to call it the curry.
Lost World.
Right, not the Lost World, the curry.
Uh-huh.
The Lost World was on Market Street.
Yes.
That's where St. John's was, St.
You're
John's
not
School.
your own excitement.
Right. That's where that was. But I trying to give you all a clear thing of
Yeah.
where the Collins Wall started from. Collins Wall started from right where you see that's between that same place which yours says Collins House.
Yeah.
And thing up. Collins Wall start from there and it go down. Newry, your wife living in on the top of Fortin Castle.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where your wife living. You see way down in the back.
Mm-hmm.
You see where your wife living, right? They live on top of the hill though. But anyhow, if you go in on Fort St. Castle on the Fort Hill, we call it the Fort Hill. Once you go up there, you can see a wall. The wall's still there.
The wall still
right? That wall carry you straight down to Mason.
Yes.
When you go down in Mason, if you go by the park, you could still see the wall. Now the wall break off when you go on McCullough Corner.
Mm-hmm.
See on McCullough Corner, Newry?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you go McCullough Corner, that's the wall break off right there. And then if you look on the opposite side, McCullough Corner going heading north, heading south, you'll see the wall again. That wall carry you straight out. It stop, I think it's on Wolf Road.
Wolf Road.
On Wolf Road, after you done. See it, every corner which you see break off,
Was a break
that's
in the
Collins Wall.
I got
Okay,
you.
you know where? You remember where the...
And you're saying on the eastern side of the road, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I heading south
So-
on East Street.
So where Sparky was leading people, he was way off. Way off.
But remember, the wall has two sides.
Right. No,
East and west.
the wall have two sides going straight. Ain't no turn. That wall don't turn. That's one straight wall.
So
Now what they do,
yeah.
like he say, they chip it. But when they chip it, they just do that to make where people will be able to have access to go in Centerville. Because you couldn't go in Centerville back then. That's why they put the wall there.
All right.
It was part off.
So here's what I know now. We need a documentary
But thank you very much, Carl.
on Collins House and Collins Wall. I mean, and we need a multi-layered documentary. We got to go to the people, our fathers, our uncles, our grandfathers, our uncles, them, who as children played around the remnants of the wall. Their parents and their grandparents, search the archives, go into your Grammy had a Bible, go into the Bible and see if she had notes, right? I went to an estate sale and I found a box of books. I love books, right? I go in through these books and I find a handwritten journal. And then I read it and I realize that this is the journal of the grandfather of, the great-grandfather of the people selling the house. And the estate agent didn't have a connection to the things. And so when I said to the estate agent, hey, you should take this and give this back to the family, they tell me, no, they leave it here. You keep it. So I kept it, and then I gave it back
To the family.
to the family. And they were overjoyed because of all the notes and all the history in there. But wouldn't have context. I didn't have the context to truly understand what was in the book. I had to give it to them.
Aaron, one of my concerns is because it seems as if we're not going to build a national museum on the Collins estate.
Yeah.
We are looking for more land. In fact, we just purchased land from the Wilsons, like some kind of land swap deal, to build a hospital out west.
No, man, hold on, pause. What? Okay, but that's an aside. I can put
Yeah,
that on the aside.
right? If we're not going to use the Collins estate to build a museum, surely we can use the land to extend the hospital.
It's too soon to say we're not going to use the Collins estate.
It's been 12, 15 years.
Pause, but we got an article from 2021.
Go ahead, read the article for 2021.
Eyeing a transformation of heritage sites, 23rd of June, 2021. The Bahamian group that has reached agreement with the Bahamas government for a public-private partnership to manage and refurbish.
And that's one we cancel. That's the one before the election. That's the F&M people I'm trying to...
They canceled this one?
That's what the F&M was trying to charge us to go to our national site. Anyway, go ahead. They canceled that. Of course. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay,
Cancel.
because I couldn't tell, because there was no follow-up.
Go ahead.
Okay. it's very difficult finding information about these matters. The Bahamian group that has reached agreement with the Bahamas government for public-private partnership to manage and refurbish cultural heritage sites, including the Water Tower and New Providence forts, has both a signed memorandum of understanding and a signed management agreement. Its managing partner, Olvin Rees, told National Review yesterday, according to documents, Public-Private Investment Limited sent the government in 2017. Okay, then, that's all you had to say. They sent a proposal in 2017,
Yes.
but the article is in 2021.
Yes.
Okay, never
Cancelled.
mind.
Like, got cancelled.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
even
let's
if it
make it
didn't
sure.
get canceled.
No.
4 years later?
Yeah, get cancelled.
Yeah.
Let's go to the callers then. We have a couple
I
callers
bet
to
you
the line.
it would have gotten canceled anyway if we didn't have a snap election.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning. Thanks for allowing me to speak. I want to add to the history of that, of Dr. Collins, Collins Wall. My mother said back in the 20s when they started to build that wall, the men were being paid a penny a day. I don't know if you want to include that. Hello?
Now, I'm
listening.
listening, and I'm getting ready to ask you a question, right? Now, tell me, what was a penny a day? Like, give me the value.
My dear, I can't imagine what an 8-hour shift for a penny a day is worth today.
See, because
And mind you, I have a narrative on it because I had two of my ancestors
so many,
who worked on the
so
on the
many
wall.
men at that time not working.
Yeah.
It was a
They were
recession we were
trying
going
to
through.
get the work.
Yeah. Let me tell you
They
what.
were being paid a penny, the big round penny.
Let me tell you why I asked that, right? Because in my research last night, I found a comment from Vera Chase,
Okay.
the late Vera Chase, the historian, right? And she was working on documenting the history of Collins House. And she said in this post, this is from a long time ago, she said, people said that Collins was a racist, but Collins paid workers a shilling a day to work and fed them lunch every day. And she suggested that meant he was not a racist. So I wanted to get a sense of what a penny a day meant.
No, in that time,
Yeah.
big men were still being paid a shilling a day up to about 1930, 1940.
Okay.
And that was for a week.
Wow.
Now that's a comment I'd like to make, and that'll hang up.
Yeah.
I think that should be torn down now, because what it'll take to resurrect that and make that look presentable, we could halfway build a new hospital. Extend the hospital that way. I made this comment before. We got to get beyond the trying to save all these things, because the government house just cost us $20 million, that old structure.
It didn't have to cost 20 million, though. It didn't have to cost 20 million.
They said it cost 20 million, Aaron.
I know. That's what they're saying, and I'm not doubting that. I'm saying it didn't need to cost 20 million.
Well, you know how we go when it comes to them big contracts. Somebody got to make something. But anyway, I want to finish before Sparky or C. Allen calls.
Yes, sir.
I would like to see them extend the hospital that way.
Yes, I think that's a
Because
great
we
idea.
already have a lot of infrastructure there, and it'll be a lot easier, I would think, instead of building a hospital out west. And just buy some more ambulance. Like have the ambulance posted where they have them out to the clinic,
Yeah.
so they could leave from either direction and get to the main hospital.
Not just
And I think that'll carry us into another 50 years.
not just that, we have developed this driving culture where we no longer yield for emergency vehicles. I just want to take this moment to say,
No.
Bahamians.
Well, Robert, I beg to differ with you on that, because just this morning I was on Milo Butler Highway and the
Yeah.
police were coming up, and everybody went to the side.
That's good
I
because
must say the majority of us obey.
over the last week, I've seen 3 emergency vehicles try to navigate through traffic. And 2 weeks ago, I watched an ambulance have to divert to the opposite lane because the people just refused to
See,
move.
let me tell you something again about that.
Yeah.
The smaller cars that are on the road cannot take going over the sidewalk, because they leave half of the car on the sidewalk, or it'll be all bent up. The government should have some indentations along the road somewhere when they build these things. The little cars can't take them sidewalks.
Not just that.
The tires can't take them sidewalks.
People have to be alert when they're driving and maintain the distance necessary between vehicles so that they can veer safely to the side of the road. I mean, caller, I hear you, but before you get behind the wheel of a car, you're required to be a perfect person. And if you're not, the onus is on you, the driver,
But
to
see, we
not
have some-
drive.
Listen, most of the time, I don't even hear it, man. I only drive with my air conditioner on. and I don't hear them. So imagine this young generation who got the music blasting in their ears, they're smoking marijuana, and plus they're on the phone. Now, what can they hear?
Listen, they better hear Jesus because they
Well,
didn't.
that's different.
They
So
didn't
if
hear the
Jesus
driving
take 'em-
instructor. They didn't hear the
Yeah.
driving instructor tell them all of those things are a no go. I want to thank
but
you,
they,
sir.
They don't listen, my dear. They don't. I saw the other day, I was behind one little black Honda, and the smoke would came out that I thought he had an electrical shortage on his bike.
Sir, do me a
came to the
favor.
sunroof.
Before you go, you would please document, even if you're just recording yourself speaking, please document the stories that your mothers and grandmothers and ancestors have shared with
listen,
you.
People always tell me that, but see, as I grew, I started listening to a lot of elderly people.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of stories. My mom, when I used to take her riding, she would tell me about this, tell me about that. People just always tell her to document what you know.
Producer, please.
And I'm not much of a writer.
Don't go. Please, producer, take his information so I can come and record you and Sparky.
Okay, we're going to take a short break now and come back.
He's
Producer's
coming to
going
you
to
right
get your
now.
message. I'd like to say before we take a break that Collins, I should remember his name, just going to escape from me. G. Collins was the member of Parliament for Ackland and Crooked Island.
Ralph Collins.
Ralph G. Collins, I think.
A. Collins.
A. Collins. And he employed. This was when they had the mass exodus of family islanders.
Yeah.
Because we was going through recession, the Great Recession, all those people came from the family islands to work on the Collins Wall project.
Yeah.
And they was getting the shilling a day. And I had like 2 ancestors who worked on that.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to say that. Anyway, let's take this break. Guided Radio the AM with the CA Newry. Of course, we're talking about the lack of information on what we plan to do with the Collins estate. And if they're not going to build the museum, let's build a hospital there one time.
And what may be the last man standing? The Royal Montague Hotel is gone. All the big ones, Villa
We're
Doyle,
knocking down
gone.
everything. We're knocking down everything.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, producer, take us out.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. Buy your local paper at Freeport convenience stores, Western Bakery, De Gregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Want to reach your Grand Bahama customers? Then call Barefoot Marketing at 827-4578 or message them for ad rates via their Facebook page. Advertising opportunities now include classified ads too. Keep up with all the latest Grand Bahama news in the Nassau Guardian newspaper every Tuesday.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
The holiday season is upon us, and everyone's going to be looking for those special items on their gift list. Merchants, here's your opportunity to have your products placed in the Nassau Guardian's Holiday Gift Guide. This year, shoppers are going to be searching for perfect presents at the right price. Anything from a family island weekend getaway to electronics, jewelry, and even clothes. For one low price, you can have your ads published twice this December in the Nassau Guardian's Holiday Gift Guide. Deadline for registration is Wednesday, November 30th. Be sure to contact your Nassau Guardian sales agent or call the Nassau Guardian directly at 302-2300. Be sure to ask about our 30-second Christmas radio commercial bonanza.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
The Nassau Guardian's Holiday Gift Guide. Our gift to you. Because Christmas is...
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And welcome back to Garden Radio the AM. I see I have a caller on the line. So let's go straight to that caller. Go ahead, caller. Caller, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Collins Wall, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it started, but it came down south by Pantol Street.
Yes.
Those days used to go, you call that Rocky Road. And it goes east along from Pantol Street. It goes east into Collins Avenue. Because I used to go to Sutton Senior, where the school is now by Collins Avenue and Wolf Road.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be Sutton Senior.
Mm-hmm.
And H.O. Nash, you know the lady who on Junkanoo?
Mm-hmm.
Her dad was the principal.
Arlene Nash Ferguson, yes.
Yes. Now, they came down all along East Street into Collins, come down to Pantol Street, and then a turn and go east into Collins Avenue.
Sir, thank you very, very much. We are all out of time. We got to go walk down memory lane along Collins Wall. Before the people go, y'all go online and look for this article. Curating the Nation, the Politics of Recognition in a Bahamian National Museum by Maria A. Lee at George Washington University, where she explores what could be entailed in thinking about the Bahamian nation from the curatorial standpoint of a national museum.
The truth is, Aaron, we ain't never having a national museum. It's not on the forethought of any of our leaders.
That's okay. Just because they don't have the political will doesn't mean that we don't know who we are and what we need.
This has been Guided Radio in the AM with C.A. Newry. Have a wonderful day.